Hello, I'm Juliet and welcome to bakingmad.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make simple sugar flowers. They are really easy. I'm just going to be using some sugar paste here. I've got some ready coloured sugar paste. Once you learn how to do this, it really is great because you can use it for cupcakes, large cakes, all sorts of things. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Again, once you've learnt to do this technique, you can do exactly the same thing with marzipan that you can colour, or even modelling chocolate. It's exactly the same principle. So I'm just going to take a little bit of icing sugar and just start by just kneading my sugar paste. Like anything with modelling or sugar flowers, quite often it comes from very simple shapes. So this is going to start off by making a sausage shape. So I'm just going to roll this out and I'm just going to make a medium-sized flower. If you want to do them in smaller or larger, again, just make this slightly larger or thinner. So I'm going to use about 1.5 centimetres thickness. Take a sharp knife and just cut down. You don't need to be really exact. Try and keep them roughly the same thickness, but we're kind of going for, about 0.5 centimetre to 1 centimetre. And now I'm just going to take the document wallet. This is quite a handy tip. You can do it without it, but this really does help to stop the petals from sticking to the surface because sugar paste does become quite sticky. So I'm just going to open up the document wallet, and as you can see, where I've actually cut these out, you've already got a flat edge where I've pushed it against the surface, and that's going to be the beginnings of my petal. So I want the flat edge facing the seam. I'm left-handed, so I'm doing it this way. If you're right-handed, you're doing exactly the same, but just in the other direction. But the most important thing is to have the flat edge facing the seam, because that's the part that I'm going to thin out. So when I open up the document wallet, if you don't do it this way, it can sometimes tear the petals. So you want to have the delicate part facing the seam. So I'm just going to put about 15 on there. So I'm just going to now take the base of my thumb and press each petal just to start off flattening them out. Just roughly. So you've got your petals are beginning to take shape. So now I need to make the top edge nice and thin. So I'm just going to use my thumb and just run my thumb along the top edge of the petal. So I'm not going very far down. If I go too far down, it's not going to hold its shape. What I'm doing is just sharpening off that top edge of the petal there, just to kind of make it look very delicate on the top, but the rest of the petal is still fairly thick. Just go all the way down until you've flattened out all of your petals. So now I'm just going to open up my document wallet, and as you can see, that is the beginning of your petal. So it's curling towards me, it's automatically going to curl one way. So when I make this, all the time I want to have the petals curling towards me because I want my flower to look open. I don't want it to be enclosed, I want the petals to be opening out from the centre. So for my first one, I just need to make a central bud. So I usually stretch this one out slightly longer. And I'm just going to tuck in one side, just press that in, and I'm just going to twist. Twist it very tightly, and I'm not touching the top. As you can see, I'm really trying to just handle it at the bottom. So there's my central part. Now, if you want to, you can make all of your centres and then come back and do the next stage. But sometimes people like to do it all in one. It's like anything. With cake decorating, it's like handwriting. Everyone finds their own way. And you'll find your own way and how it's comfortable for you. So just see what works. Again, if it's chocolate, you will probably want to make the centres to start with because it gets really hot. So there's my central piece. I'm going to take petal number 2. Again, having the curled bit away from the centre. And just attach this to the central one and just wrap around. And again, I'm not touching the top, I'm just wrapping that around the bottom, and it's naturally sticky, so that's going to stick there. So as you can see, I've already got a lovely rosebud. I could use it now, just cut it off and use it for a cupcake. I'm going to continue and make a larger one. So I'm going to take petal number 3. Every time I'm attaching a petal, I'm going just a couple of millimetres higher than the previous one, because if I don't do that, you get these kind of trumpety roses that you get the middle bit coming too high. So just a couple of centimetres, a couple of millimetres higher, and wrapping it round and open it out. I think one more. I'm quite happy with that. So now I'm just going to give it a gentle pinch, and even perhaps once you give it a pinch and give it a bit of movement, you might want to add another one. I'm going to add one more there. And just giving it a pinch on the edges of the petals really makes it look delicate. So you can see you get a lovely rose there. So I'm just going to cut off the base with a sharp knife, just being careful, and pop that down. So once you've made your flowers, you might want to add a little bit of leaf detail. So that's very easy to do. You can do this with royal icing or sugar paste. So I'm going to show you a really simple way to make leaves. And you don't need any skill at all, just be able to roll out the sugar paste and use a cutter for this. So I'm just going to take a little bit of sugar paste. Again, just ice the surface with a dusting of icing sugar. And just using a small rolling pin. I think if I'm using small bits of sugar paste, I find it easier to control with a smaller rolling pin. So just roll this out fairly thinly. Again, you can do this with marzipan or chocolate as well. So it's kind of, you're looking for the thickness of about, like a sheet of lasagna, I guess. There we go. So now before I use my cutter, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of sugar, icing sugar to the top, so it doesn't get stuck in the cutter. So I've got some plunger cutters here. You can get all kinds of ones in different shapes and sizes. And what you've got your cutting edge that's got the shape of the leaf, and I've also got an impression maker, so it's going to give it a bit of detail, and I don't really need to do anything at all. So I'm just going to push that down, and then plunge my leaf out, and you can see you've got a lovely bit of detail there that you can just add, and you can place those anywhere you like on your cake. And you can even use them if you're doing a buttercream effect cake, you can use the leaves for that as well. So simple as that. And again, you can leave these to dry and just use them later.